in answer to his question about the subjects.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Command's Talk Today.
Oh, what a compliment. For that, I thank you.
What is happening now? There are homeless and hungry.
Now it's time for us to stand up for God or we fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listening to the general public, what the public is saying.
Good afternoon, Cayman, and welcome to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller. I'm filling in for your regular host, Sterling Dwayne Banks. I have an exciting show planned today, a special show, especially in my first segment. I'll be welcoming 3 young Caymanians as we discuss politics from the perspective of Millennials and Generation Z. I do say Generation Z, not Z. After that, we'll be having Dr. Shari Smith, the Scholarship Secretariat. We have to finish a conversation off that we had earlier this week about the overseas application deadlines for Caymanians that are looking to get scholarships. And then from 2 p.m. onwards, we'll have Dr. Stacey McAfee of UCCI. And we're going to take it back for a quick break, and then we'll be back with our discussion.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Command's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. I'm welcoming everybody to give us a call this afternoon at 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037 or 949-6990. You can also WhatsApp us at 925-3261. If you're going to contribute to the conversation that we're having this afternoon in studio, please do give us a call. We'd like to hear from you. So I'm welcoming, as I said, right before that break, 3 younger Caymanians as we talk about politics and building Cayman from the perspective of Millennials and Generation Z. I'm welcoming in studio Mr. Colin Bodden, Miss Alana Warwick-Smith, and Mr. Chris Gorzong. Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
How are you doing today?
Doing great, thank you.
Beautiful day. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining me. It can be kind of a hard topic for a lot of people to actively discuss. So I'm very grateful that you guys did join me in studio today so we can have this discussion. I'm going to give a quick bio from each of our guests today so our listeners know who we're talking with. So Miss Alana, she holds a Bachelor of Laws degree from the University of Liverpool and has experience ranging across sales, human resources, and marketing. She's the past director of the Cayman Islands Society for Human Resource Professionals and the current president of local non-profit organization Rotaract Blue Cayman Islands.
Hi.
We have Chris Gorzong. He's a born and raised Caymanian, having grown up as a proud Red Bay Bush baby with a strong East End heritage. Chris's interest in local political and social issues has led him to work on multiple political campaigns. He has served on the ICTA board, as well as being an original member of the One Man, One Vote initiative. He has also volunteered his time working with the youth, spending 7 years as a member in the Junior Achievement Program. And then we have one of my good friends, probably around, I want to say around a couple years after I moved here, so about 12 years or so, I've known Colin Bodden. He's a young Caymanian born and raised in the beautiful district of Georgetown. He works in his profession as a manager, and he's also an athlete. He has formerly represented Cayman on national teams like karate and basketball. So welcome to all of you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now the big thing, we know elections are coming up. This is election season. Well, we're heading into election season, and so we know that on pretty much all media that you're going to see out there, whether it's on Radio Cayman, whether it's on other forums, perhaps on Facebook where people are streaming, you're going to be seeing a lot of people just coming to, I guess, talk about their issues or promote themselves because they're going to be running in elections. We know that, right? Now, my thing is, and Colin, I've talked to you personally about this. I would see a lot of complaints coming from younger Caymanians, a lot of, disheartenment and, I don't want to say bickering, but just words, people expressing themselves not happy with how things are being run in the country. Right. Doesn't matter who's in power, it's just a constant, they're just not happy. But I never see really any solutions, so I wanted to have a constructive conversation about this. Now, we're younger Caymanians, we're millennials here and Generation Z. So from your point of view, what do you think are some of the issues that are really affecting your generation right now? I know it's an open-ended question, and anybody's allowed to jump in and answer.
Ladies first.
Well, why you put you on the spot?
I was like age before beauty, but okay.
Mercy. Be waiting a long time then.
No, please. I'm interested in, I'm very proud to say that I'm a Generation Z, not a millennial. So I do think my opinions will differ slightly from both of yours. So I'm interested to kind of follow.
Let's see. That's a loaded question. First, I think the biggest misconception we all have is that it's all on the politician. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. So with that being said, is like we have to also carry the burden of the island or the country. So for us to continuously blame things, I know some things are continuously, it's always going as from a generation to generation. It's the same thing, whether it's from traditional things or just, lack of foresight, whatever it may be. But a lot of times we blame, politicians for what they do, but at the same time, like for instance, we speak about this all the time as well. I don't ask for perfection. I just ask for accountability. That's what I want. Yeah. I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need you to have all the right answers. I just need you to be accountable. And yeah, once we start there, I think we could have a better conversation on that.
Right, we can go from there. Chris?
Well, I would believe one of the biggest things is engagement with this generation and how they participate in disseminating information to this generation, because the way that this generation consumes information is I don't feel like the grasp or they don't get the eyeballs that they should have on the information that's out there. Example. Right now, the LA has been in, the Parliament now has been in session for the PAC, and they've been cross-examining the turtle farm. And if you go to the YouTube page, and by no means am I bashing, but I'm hopefully giving some advice here, it would be useful in the YouTube videos if they gave a description of what was being discussed, right? Because it just says, PAC for the date and what part it was, part 1, part 2, or part 3 if they go late. So information like that, and then chopping those videos up into like segments of, we interviewed this person and that person, and then pushing that out there on the different platforms for the eyeballs that are out there via whether it be IG or Twitter and Facebook and such, into consumable bites, right? And reaching out to the people that way to get them informed, because right now it's easy to talk about problems and solve them on your porch, but getting people engaged and informed is probably the best thing, because right now, just listening to the radio, reading the news, only gives you like a certain side of the story. But the most important thing is to be able to get the information yourself and do some critical thinking, and then just making your own opinion instead of listening to one that's espoused to you. So that's one thing I feel that should really be done, and that could be done quite easily from whoever is in charge of social media and the government there, to get people of our generation to consume more of what's being done out there. Because I know there's a lot of good things that are happening, but it doesn't get covered because it's not like a hot topic, right?
Right. Or some really important points are missed. And I completely agree with you with this. I know that internal comms within government has set up like a digital team, and that's fairly new. I'm going to say within... right before COVID, really, that digital team was erected. So they began doing things, but then it's who from in charge of that digital team is saying, okay, this is what you're going to put out there. Because in my own opinion, seeing a lot of the information that we did come from the Cayman Gov, I think it's Instagram page. I think it's called Cayman Gov.
Yeah. Which should be verified.
I believe it. Yeah. Well,
they need to get that verified.
They
have a lot.
point.
They have a lot of followers. They have like 8,000 followers, something like that. But they're not. They should get like verified to make sure that people know it's the right page.
But even to your point, and also to Colin's point, I would even say that there's there is the accountability, but there's also the accessibility. I almost feel like it's not encouraged to provide that information. I had a conversation with Chris a few weeks ago where I've never sat in on what was the LA in Parliament because I never know when it's in session. Never know when it's in session. Something as simple as that.
Okay, that's a great point.
Yeah, I had it written down here that I feel that Parliament should have its own Instagram page or Facebook page saying that this is what's scheduled for the week and these are the times that a session is expected to start. Because the only reason I know now is because on YouTube I actually have like the notification thing on, so I get the alert that that the page is live, but I don't have any prior knowledge.
What did they do in the early 2000s?
Well, where are you consuming your content the most then?
YouTube.
For
me
Chris?
personally.
Same here.
Instagram.
So I'm with you, Alana. I'm Instagram and Twitter, and YouTube a little bit. When I know the videos are up on YouTube, I can go there, but it's definitely Instagram and Twitter. I noticed none of us have said Facebook.
Nope.
That's for the old people then.
And it's tough, right? Because
it might hurt for them to hear that.
No, it's true. And
it's very true. And you have to have content that you're going to be sharing on these platforms that reach different audiences, and you have to know how to position that content to reach those audiences. Straight up. That's what it is. You do marketing, you do digital marketing. So you understand that facet. Yeah.
And I think a big thing that is also I feel like we've taken a step back, like I'm going to put an umbrella on it and say media, but the media landscape in Cayman, we've had a lot happen in the past 18 months. This is going to be the first election, that we've had that we won't have a news station, a TV station.
Right.
And we have to think about things like that where, okay, maybe they're reporting at the Compass to say the LA is in session, but let's really talk about who is going to spend the economic state of the country. If you have an extra $100 to spend and you have to pay for lunch for your kids, are you going to do that? Or are you going to have a Compass subscription?
Right.
So it's kind of the availability of the news also. I think it is a responsibility for the people who are running those channels to make sure that it is trickled out.
I agree with you. And at least on a government channel, that's one thing because it's the government arm. And of course, they're going to press the government's issues and in favor of what the government is doing. You need an independent source. So while Radio Cayman is not quite that independent source whatsoever, you still need the news outlets that we do have, which is the Compass, which is Cayman News Service, for example, Loop Cayman, Cayman Times. I think it's called Caymanian Times. I should know this. Yes, for sure. I think we have to go to a commercial break right now, but when we return, we will still be joined with Alana Warwick-Smith, Chris Gorzong, and Colin Bodden as we're talking about right now the political landscape in the Cayman Islands and the perspective from Millennials and Generation Z.
You're invited to enjoy a customer appreciation and seasonal celebration with Vigoro Nursery on Agricola Drive. Join Vigoro Sunday, November 22nd from noon to 3:30 p.m. for appetizers, beer, wine, and live music. Save 10% on early bird Christmas shopping with Vigoro's best selection of home accessories, truly stunning ceramics, and occasional furniture. Bring the kids. It's going to be a fantastic time with Vigoro on Agricola Drive.
Digital is not a buzzword, it is a culture. At Digicel, we've made it our mission to enrich your digital lives. That's why we're bringing together more of all the experiences you love. The latest shows, the best of local and international music and radio, live sports, cloud storage, breaking news, HD video chats, and more. Welcome to Digital at Digicel, the Caribbean's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
Stronger, wider, higher, lighter. The all-new Ford Ranger Raptor. Powerfully built with a 2.0 diesel Panther engine and 210 horsepower. Modern with leather interior and 8-inch touchscreen, Sync 3 technology and power features. Tough, built to handle the off-road with 4-wheel drive, terrain modes, and a 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming early October to Vamped Motors, Walkers Road. To find out more and to test drive the bold new Ford Ranger Raptor, visit Vamped Motors, Walkers Road, or call 949-8288.
Rotary Central Music Extravaganza tickets are moving like Blackie's Grape Nut Ice Cream on a sizzling Saturday night in Cayman Brac. Get your tickets now from Rotary Central members, Rotary ticket sellers, online at eventpro.ky, Funky Tangs, Ale Thompson's Home Depot, the bar at Mango Tree Restaurant, Seabird's Bar at Eastern Avenue. In Cayman Brac, Rotary Club of Cayman Brac and Tashara Lewis. Bar Camp on the Run in Red Bay. Gas stations island-wide. Get ready to be a winner. Stand your chance to win $40,000. Second prize $4,000, 6 $1,000 prizes and more. Your golden ticket, your golden chance. Rotary Central and the Music Extravaganza 2020. Innovators behind the Rotary Cayman Disaster Fund and the Rotary District 7020 Disaster Fund. Your tickets support over 70 Rotary community projects, making every ticket a winner. Rotary Central, not-for-profit number 232. Your ticket, your chance. Your contribution to a better community through Rotary. Rotary opens opportunity.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. In studio this afternoon, we have Alana Warwick-Smith, Chris Gorzong, and Colin Bodden. We are discussing the political landscape in Cayman, how we want to see some younger representation, hopefully in Parliament, and some of the issues that are affecting Millennials and Generation Z and the progress that we want to see for Cayman. Right before the break, we were discussing how people are receiving information right now. And an interesting note was nobody in studio right now is accessing Facebook to see what's going on with government. People aren't necessarily going to the government YouTube page, although Chris did say he does have his alerts for that. But we're talking about being able to get more information from government of what was coming on, Public Accounts Committee, for example, being able to say, okay, well, what was discussed today? This is a topic, and being able to tailor their messages to the audiences on the correct platforms that they're trying to roll their messages out onto. So the big heavyweight question that I had there was, what are some of the issues that you think are affecting your generation? Would you touch on that? Because you talked about how you consume content, but
that's big.
It's a loaded question, yeah.
It is.
Are you concerned for the environment? Are you concerned about jobs? Are you concerned about
all of that.
Education opportunities?
All of that. Well, I'm concerned about the rate of growth right now. I wish they would provide I wish there was a plan that was laid out. And maybe there is a plan and it's not being shown to us because they know it might be somewhat polarizing. But I wish there was some sort of plan to say we're looking to hit X marker when it comes down to tourism. Because from my point of view, not saying that this is actually what is happening behind the scenes, because I know what happens behind the scenes and what public perception is completely can be not correlated at all.
Right.
But from my perception, it feels like they want tourism to continue growing no matter what the cost is. So right now, we're just continually to build more and more hotels and infrastructure, and we want to kind of force feed the economy to grow because via importing bringing in work permits, because the natural population isn't growing at that rate to economically sustain a lot of these businesses and such that are being built. And at what point is are we happy? Where is it? What is the actual number that we are happy to say that economically this makes sense and this is what the island can hold and this is what will bring a pretty good life to the people that live here? And I don't feel like we've been given that information, or if it is, and I haven't heard it, but I wish there was some sort of at least 20-year plan that the people have agreed to. There was public participation. It was laid out in a way that we were able to digest and have a vote on.
Okay, great point. Thank you.
I think it's interesting you say that because it's so fascinating to me. This election will only be my second election. So when I came in, like, I had to do a one man, one vote. I never had 4 votes. And I can't seem to wrap my head around the fact that 22 Mile Island and West Bay is separate from East End. I think...
What do you mean by district or?
Yeah, I can't seem to wrap my head around the fact of just speaking about us having a long-term plan. No wonder we don't have a long-term plan. We're separate. We're separate and we still can't get in touch with our MP now. And it's just interesting because you only see them at certain times of year. You can only speak. You only see them at certain types of year, certain locations on the island.
Thanksgiving is coming up. Yes.
Thanksgiving is coming up. But at the same time, it's like I can only say maybe off the top, I don't even know if I could count 5 who actively maybe have a WhatsApp group. And I'll say it's like I have one of my close friends is Georgetown Central. She's in a WhatsApp group with her MP and he's keeping them updated all the time, keeping them abreast of the issues.
Who's that MP?
Kenneth Bryan.
Why am I not surprised? I'm not surprised, but because he knows he knows what it takes, and he knows engaged. He keeps his eyes and ears to the ground and his feet to the ground, and he's active with that. So he knows to reach out and always be in touch with the people. So I know it was a boy, was that ever a show last election with trying to position certain people to run against him so he would not go in. And I mean, Kenneth got in and he's very active. So kudos to him. I want to ask that question. How do we continue to get younger representation in Parliament? But we do have a caller on the line. So pop your headphones on, Alana. Let's take this caller and let's see what they have to say. Good afternoon, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Miss Miller, and good afternoon to your esteemed young people there with you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, hello.
Good afternoon, yes. Mr. Bryan is also the youngest member of Parliament, I believe.
Yes.
Quite sure he is. And also, in the Westminster parliamentary system, which you're a part of, politics has always been that way, that you position people. It is a party system. You position people into a place that you know can win, has a possible winning. That is how it always, and it always probably will be that way, as long as we are a colonial power. And even those who are past colonies, now independent, that's how it's done. But they have parochial elections, like the big island of Jamaica was split up into 14 parishes, and then you have many broken down districts, because each of those parishes is a lot bigger than Grand Cayman. And then the other islands are the same way too. They have localized politics. It makes a big difference. Also, when you mention the economy, but first, I'd like to say Radio Cayman does a splendid job with giving you the recorded broadcast. And if you listen to them carefully, you get a lot of great details into the workings of the Parliament or Legislative Assembly. And you choose to call it by that name. This is the previous name. Move forward now.
I agree with you, Mr. Mickey. I agree with you, but also on their point, I don't think Radio Cayman necessarily reaches a younger audience either. So I work for Radio Cayman. We have to look at how we can also reach a younger audience. How are we going to take some of that content that we do share coming from Parliament? Because we keep them on the live broadcasts, and then we replay Parliament later on in the evening. So we do that, but how, for example, how does Alana know? Does she know that? Maybe we need to be able to reach Alana on the platforms that she's on to say, hey, this is where you can get this information.
I understand what you're saying. One of the things that bothers me when I hear young people talking, I can hear they're quite educated and intelligent and all that. Of course, education is one thing. I mean, academic education, but there's no education that is equal to the school of life. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's a fair statement.
The school of life. And that is an education in itself. My cousin Jim Borden often used to talk about that when people ask him what school he went. He didn't go to college, the school, but a very, very smart man. The same thing I'll have to say about Mr. McKeever Bush. Kind of similar in their thought process.
Did you have a question for the panelists?
Yes.
Okay, what's the question?
What I'm saying is this. You also have to take the responsibility on yourselves. Speaking to young people a lot. And then I'm going to say one other thing with the economic situation that is very important, exceedingly important, because it's a unique one we have here. You see where they're mostly concentrating on their cell phones. Ticketed that, ticketed this, and I'm talking, I'm saying to them, you know, you could possibly delve into this by reading this book or so. And it's not interesting to them. To what I'm saying, then they turn to me afterward and say, yeah, what were you saying, Mr. Mickey? I said, don't bother. You didn't hear me. I'm not going to bother to repeat it.
Yes.
And I've noticed this considerable dependence on a cell phone and the different things, the Facebook, chit-chat, whatever it is, they do Googling and this and that, instead of personal contact. Personal contact is a very important thing, eye to eye. The other thing I was going to say, you've got to realize we're in a very different time now, with children looking at X-rated movies on their little cell phones and the kind of music that's being played. I passed by a place and there was nothing but bad words. You could hear it loud in the music and so forth. This other thing is this, and it's very, very important, and I've stressed it over the years, and I will not cease to stress it. We do not have any direct income tax. I'm not talking about
Thank you.
taxes. We don't have it, and there's no other country I can think of hasn't got that. So we depend only 99% almost. We do have some export on consumption-based taxation. Consumption-based taxation means more is better.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mickey. I've got to go back up. We're going to go to a commercial break soon, but I've got to go back to the panel for another question here. Thank you for your call and your contribution and your comments. All right, so we heard what the caller had to say there.
Yeah, he had a whole lot.
Yes, he did.
He made
Shout out
good
Mr. Mickey.
points. I
Absolutely.
have to be honest. I don't disagree that I do think, to Colin's point, where it's not all on the politician. It takes people to build a community. It's not all on the politician, but at the same time, if something as basic as people not knowing you need to be registered to vote by January 1, 2021.
January 4th, I think.
Okay, January 4th, 2021 to qualify to be on the register for this upcoming election.
Right.
If people don't even have that basic information, how can they take it upon themselves?
Right.
And I think it really is, it's a system that's positioned, I don't think young people realize it's almost a system that will remain positioned against us until we raise our numbers in the electorate. Like, I pulled the stats. Ages 18 to 24, there's only 1,136 voters in the entire electorate. Over 70 members.
That's very little.
Very little. Those over 75 years old, 1,900.
Okay.
So that in itself, of course, they're not appealing to us because there's not enough of us.
There's not. But there should be.
This goes down to back to getting people engaged and getting them engaged early. And I think the main problem is just ignorance and just not having the information. And that starts at a young age where you don't have political science and civics classes being taught to students. I've done junior achievement for a very long time. And I would always, that's the best place to pick kids' brains. And I would just sit down there all the time asking them questions and just seeing like how little they know because they're not being taught these things. So they should have a class that teaches them what the process is of the election, how what facets of the Constitution affect how the government functions, the government works, how the governor works itself, how cabinet is formed, who the premier is and what his functions are in all the ministries, and how they are used to shape the island. And having that understanding and that level of engagement gets them curious. So when they hear things, they be like, this is how it relates to this. And just having knowledge makes you want to have more information when you read something. Because when you have information brought onto you and you don't really know how it works, you're more likely to dismiss it. And you may not want to be a part of the process. But getting people engaged at a much younger age so that when they know when they turn 18, this is what I have to do to vote because I've been taught this, and these are the benefits of me voting, and I know that I can be a part of the process. Because even before I came here, I have a young lady that works in my office, and I asked her, are you registered to vote? She said no. I asked her why. She's like, I don't know. And I was like,
She didn't know why.
She didn't really.
It
just wasn't on her radar.
It's not going to matter.
It wasn't jury duty?
She said no.
I get that often.
Yeah, I think that's like an old people's tale where they've scared people into saying I don't want to do jury duty, like it's some kind of.
But to your point though, with and also your point, consistency is also the other thing. I mean, let's be real. You can't expect to gain trust from anyone if you want to see them every 4 years.
Absolutely.
You can't expect any trust. You can't expect any commitments, anything of that nature. And what it is to and not to point at politicians, but the next thing is you're no longer dating Cayman. You're now married to under oath. You understand? Like it's not like any one of us now we could get up, leave, take our families, go anywhere else, even though we're all Caymanian, love it, but we could just get up and leave. However, when you become a politician, you've now signed your life over, not only to your family, but the families of others. So you have to take it real serious. You can't just go into it with a mindset to just. I think this is why some kind of prowess.
The concept of district councils is so important and should be enforced to hold your politician accountable. That they have to come see you and they have to come report to you, and when there's an issue, they have to consult you and get your vote on matters. Like there was, I think only that I know of, the member of Northside and the member of Georgetown Central had polling for the civil union law. They went out to their constituents and said, this is what it is, and we want your opinion, and we will go forward with that. Everyone else, I believe, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, just voted how they felt.
I love that you brought that up because I have a big problem. I didn't realize it because I'll be completely honest. I have not read the Constitution of the Cayman Islands. I have not made it a priority. I need to. I'll be very honest and transparent in saying that. I did not realize that when in these votes that the Speaker of the House does not get a vote. Mm-hmm. And at the time, the Honorable Speaker was on leave, and so is it Minister Connolly? What's the term?
Minister?
Barbara. Yeah, She was sitting in at the time, and so
counselor. She's a counselor.
Counselor Connolly was sitting in at the time, which means West Bay West, and I believe she's not Georgetown South.
She's Georgetown South. Yeah.
West Bay West and Georgetown South didn't get a vote, and I didn't understand that. And why isn't the speaker separate? So the two entire bodies of people did not get a vote on something that is going to change the landscape of the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, I think the speaker only gets a vote if the vote is hung.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
exactly to that point, West Bay West didn't get a vote, and that really bothers me.
I think, Susan, do we have to go to a commercial break? Okay, unfortunately, we got to go to commercial break right now, but we'll be returning back. We're going to continue this conversation.
The New Self-Help Community Foundation presents the 19th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts with their first ever virtual concert. Get your tickets now at eventpro.ky. Streaming live on December 13th. You don't want to miss this. With performances by Erica Asai, Caitlin Tyson, Miss Universe 2018, Rico Rolando, Terry Williams, UCCI dancers, Lloyd Barker, Rita Estevanovich, Dream Chasers Cayman, Mariah Padwa, Shantae Ramoon, Duncan Anderson, Cayman Music School, Soraya Anglin, Flynn, Centerpoint Dance Company, Richie T, JC Patrick, Miss World Cayman, and more. The Talent Exposition of the Arts, first ever virtual concert, broadcasting live December 13th. Get your tickets today at eventpro.ky.
Introducing the new Digicel Prime bundles, better than anything we've offered before, with more data than ever, more music on the music, more live sports on Sportsmax, more movies on Playgo, more video chats on BIP. With the new Digicel Prime bundles, it's never been easier to get more digital experiences, plus extra data. Get 50 gigabytes with a 7-day bundle. So much data, so much fun. Buy in My Digicel app today, the Caribbean's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
Have you heard the good news? Health for Today can now help you treat these symptoms with natural supplements. High cholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, allergies, arthritis and joint pains, menopause, lupus, weight loss, acid reflux, prostate support, ADD, ADHD, bipolar, and depression. Do you suffer from lack of energy or just want to build up your immune system? Health for Today. Call us at 928-1503. Once again, 928-1503. We are here to serve.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Did you know that you must discard fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, foods in canisters, dented, leaking, or rusting cans after they have come in contact with floodwater? For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
The Family Resort Center presents the second annual 3x3 Basketball Extravaganza
on Saturday, November 28th at the Arts and Recreation Center, Camana Bay.
The junior division for boys 12 and under starts at 10 a.m. and the open senior division begins at 12 noon. Each team must have a minor on court at all times.
Free registration online at frc.gov.ky or on location November 28th.
Play for a cash prize of $1,000 and test your skills in the free throw and novelty challenges. Live family entertainment all day.
3-on-3 basketball at the Art Camana Bay on Saturday, November 28th.
This is an International Men's Day event. Contact the Family Resort Center at 949-0006 for more details. Admission is free.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
All right, welcome back. We are here talking about the political landscape in the Cayman Islands, and I have in studio Alana Warwick-Smith, Chris Gorzong, and Colin Bodden. They're giving their perspective from Millennials and Generation Z. So these are younger generations that we're talking about right now and how they want to see changes for their country. We had a caller, Mr. Mickey, who made a good point about younger people need to get more involved. And I get it when you're maybe in your early 20s, maybe you don't really care, it doesn't seem to matter until certain things start to affect you. Not being able to get a job as easy coming straight out of college. One thing, I don't know anybody who bought a home in their early 20s, so kudos to you if you've been able to do that. It's a really hard thing to do, but still home ownership is a big thing due to the cost of living. The prices here in real estate are skyrocketing, and most of that is being bought from people overseas that might spend a week here on island per year or a month or something, but they're not really integrated in Cayman, but it affects you. So in Mickey's point about how do younger people need to get more involved, and we spoke about Mr. Kenneth Bryan and how he's a little bit more involved with his constituents. It's interesting. So what would you want to see from younger representation? How do we get younger representation?
Well, by teaching them from an early age the things of how government works. And hopefully government also takes the initiative to engage more and get participation from these younger voices. And if you have a system, a democracy that actually engages with the people, I really, really did like the member from Northside's new idea for his party moving forward, the concept of it. I do love. I do have my issues with it because I do find it hard to find people to stay committed to working on a council for free for 4 years and still have the level of engagement they will. But that's a separate issue. But the concept of being responsible to the people is how you keep them engaged when you're constantly engaging with them and making them feel like their voice matters, that they can actually vote on things, whether it goes their way or not. They know that they actually were able to say my yes or my no to something, and it mattered. That is really how you get people to participate, is by having a participatory democracy.
All right.
I think you touched on a point that I wanted to talk about in regards to how do we bring younger.
Elaborate. Yes.
So one of the things is, like you just mentioned, if you didn't agree or anything like that, a lot of times, and this is no disrespect to young people, we all were young at one point. When you're in your mother's home or your parents' home, and you really don't have, the only thing you have to responsible for is to get to work, or maybe not even that, or get to school. Your mindset on things are a little different.
Absolutely.
When you get your first home, I bought my first home when I was 21. So I had a good understanding from that time, right? Or an apartment. I shouldn't say like it's a big house, right?
It's all right.
But yeah, once you purchase your first property, your lifestyle will change in the sense of just your mindset, because now you have more foresight on what you.
Big people bills.
Yeah. So
how did your mindset change? What are you now looking at and thinking about?
No, I mean, the economy matters to you. You know, that 10 cents up on your gas, that matters. You know what I mean? Like I said, when you have to pay your own bills and find your own way, it'll matter to you. A lot of these things will change. And I think when you get younger voters or younger people involved, the next thing is that, I guess, systemic thing that we all do in our households, that person he's not a good politician, And you kind of, you kind of give that to your kids as well. You give that same kind of mindset to your kids. It's normally a negative standpoint when it comes to politics. It's always I've never been in a situation, or speaking about, you'll rarely find people speak highly about politicians, and they'll still always find out one thing, and you can't be perfect. Just be accountable and transparent, as Alana would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, once you start to change those things, and for younger people, I urge you in the sense of, don't think about just today. Because many of us make that mistake. We just think about today, and that's what normally causes all these rifts and everything else with what we have going on now from a traditional standpoint. Like we always say, foresight. Like before, we didn't know that West Bay Road would be what it would be today.
Right.
That wasn't land that our forefathers wanted. But however, if we had foresight, we would say, hey, this is good land. We should keep this.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. So it's all. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was actually just gonna say, in terms of both of your points, I think we have had a history of young people entering politics. I would like to be fact checked on this. I was 9, I think, in the 2005 election. Ralston England, wasn't he 25 or 29?
I think he was like 28. And I do believe John McLean, the late John McLean, he was like 24 when he was first elected.
Yeah, and I know Minister Rivers first ran, I think she was 25 or 26. Mr. Kenneth Bryan, the first time he ran,
he was in his early 30s. I believe.
Yes, and so I do think we have this history of young people entering politics, but ultimately we can't do it by ourselves. And I think it's something where we all have a lot of talk, and we all have a lot of this and a lot of that, but it's the togetherness, and it's the togetherness of actually gathering collectives and having these conversations, and how do we make substantial change?
Yeah. No man is especially the little one.
I have to put a pin in it right now. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
We've got to go to the 1 p.m. headline news right now, and we're going to come back. So hold on to your thoughts, Chris. All right? Hold on to your thoughts. All right, Susan, take us to the news.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. 276 COVID-19 tests have been carried out since Wednesday's report. One is positive. The individual is an asymptomatic traveler who returned a positive test result following routine screening. The total number of people in isolation is at 936. In international news, Pfizer and its partner BioNTech are on Friday filing for emergency authorization in the U.S. of their COVID-19 vaccine. It will be the job of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to decide if the vaccine is safe to roll out. It is not clear how long the FDA will take to study the data. However, the U.S. government expects to approve the vaccine in the first half of December. Dozens of smuggled parrots stuffed in plastic bottles have been found on a ship docked in Indonesia's eastern region of Papua. Police said the crew discovered 64 live parrots and 10 dead birds after hearing noises coming from inside a large box. Indonesia is home to the highest number of threatened bird species in Asia and a rampant illegal trade in birds. No arrests have been made so far. Jeff Lowe, who appeared in Tiger King and took over the zoo featured in the Netflix hit, has been accused by the U.S. government of cruelty to animals there. The Department of Justice has sued Mr. Lowe and his wife Lauren, alleging recurring inhumane treatment and improper handling of tigers and lions. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
Brand Source Home Gallery is celebrating their 50th anniversary with a 20% store-wide sale starting Wednesday, November 18th through Saturday, November 21st. You heard right. Yes, 20% off everything in store. Plus, a chance to win a $3,400 GE Smart Laundry Pair. Shop and save. Celebrate Brand Source Home Gallery's 50th anniversary store-wide sale with 20% off everything in store, plus a chance to win a $3,400 GE Smart Laundry Pair. Drawing for the lucky winner of the GE Smart Laundry Pair will be held on Saturday, November 21st at 4:30 p.m. Phone 623-5000 for details. Brand Source Home Gallery, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And in studio this afternoon, I have Alana Warwick-Smith, Chris Gorzong, and Colin Bodden. We were discussing the political landscape in Cayman from the perspective of Millennials and Generation Z. What do we want to see for Cayman in these upcoming elections? 26th of May, 2021 is the next general election. You have to be registered to vote by January 4th, 2021. You can go to portal.elections.ky and you can find out information there on how to vote. We have currently 21,903 voters on the roll, and I know Alana gave us a stat.
Right.
It was just over 1,000
and
young people, 18 to 20.
18 to
24.
And
that's a big problem because I've heard this so many times, but one thing that politicians understand is numbers. And if the young people don't have substantial numbers, you don't have a big voice because if the majority of people that are registered to vote are between 45, 65, those are the people that are going to have the most influence because if you are a career politician, you want to get elected back. But if young people got out there, mobilized, and got themselves registered and had their numbers increase, then you'll have your representative pay attention to your issues and what you have to say because you now have the power to mobilize and say, this is how we're going to vote next time, and this is the percentage of the vote that we own.
And I don't think people realize how bad it is. The number that I gave was the overarching number, but just to kind of put that oomph on how bad it is, West Bay Central, there are 46 people.
Between 18 and 24.
Between 18 and 24 who are registered to vote. In Georgetown Central, it's 45. In East End, it's 38.
That's a shame.
Can I ask you a question, though? Quick question, especially, given the point that you were saying earlier. So how do you, and this is for you too, Chris, right? How do you then tell a person, because one of the biggest things that I come across, especially when you're talking about voting, the first thing a person will say is, I don't see anybody I want to vote for. That's always been one of the overhanging things of why
and
people
that comes
don't vote.
And that comes from a level of just ignorance and being and saying what you heard over the years, and you're not getting informed. You're not voting for a personality, right? We need to get over that idea. Just because you dislike someone doesn't mean that you can't vote for them. You have to vote on what their principles are, are they going to vouch for things that are important to you, and that is what you have to get to know. And also, are you able to hold them to account? And without the accountability aspect, without them coming to you to get your permission to vote on something, then you really are going to continue to have that disconnect, which I keep going back to it again. The district councils is so vital to have that happen, which means that you can vote for someone that you may not see eye to eye with, but you know that person is bound to you to come back to you and your constituency to say, this is what's on the table, and I need you to vote so I can go forward.
You, in the same vein as you said, just because you might not like someone doesn't mean that you shouldn't vote for them, but also just because you do like somebody for their personality alone, not what their actions might be and what their initiatives might be, but just, he's a nice guy and, I got a personal incentive or a family friend or whatever, the very baseless idea might be that you might be voting for that person. It's wrong. You have to look at what they're doing. You have to look at what their plans are, how they're reaching out to you.
That's a fact.
What their influence is.
A nice person could be lazy too.
Exactly.
But I don't think people, to Colin's point, I don't think people even realize that not registering to vote means you have no say. And that's the approach I take with my peers, my friends. When people will have these conversations with me, I will be very straightforward with them, and they'll express their opinion, and then I say, but are you registered to vote? And then they'll say no, and I'll say, okay. See you later.
Look what happened in the U.S. The U.S. was really close this year in elections. So it really showed how much it matters to vote. And granted, way larger population in the Cayman Islands.
Right. But the percentages
the margins still come.
Very narrow.
But didn't that happen in Newlands last
It happened in quite a few districts.
There
were several constituencies that were decided by 50 less votes.
Didn't Wayne Panton, it was off of 30 points, I think.
Might have been.
I don't know. We'd have to look at the stats.
But I can just remember clear as day, I was like, I don't want anyone to ever tell me again that their vote doesn't count. And my thing is, I just don't, the way I try and encourage my friends, I say to them, you do not have a voice. If you have ever had a conversation, and I can't remember the person who told me this, but it stuck with me my whole life. I was maybe 16 or 17, and it was a politician who told me, and they said, when other politicians will speak to you when you're an adult, they're going to speak to you, they're going to listen to you, and then they're going to leave, go to elections.ky and do the little search button to see, quote unquote, what your constituency is, to see if you're registered. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise you don't matter.
Right.
That's a fact.
You do not matter if you are not registered to vote. Full stop.
Right. Susan, we have a caller on the line right now. Let's take the call. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon. Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, Madam Moderator, good afternoon to you and to the
Thank you.
Very nice young group that you have there. First of all, just by way of introduction, I worked in government as a parliamentary counsel, a lawyer drafting legislation for about 12 years. So that's my background, and I've been in Cayman for about 18 years now. And I first of all, I am just so impressed with those young people there. And every time when people say sometimes, the young people in Cayman, you see, are not knowledgeable about this and that. That is, of course, nonsense. And when you look at those young men and the young lady there, that is clearly not true. But I think that some of the concerns they express might need, perhaps, I don't know if it's validation, but they just need somebody who is from my side of the spectrum to say something about. First of all, I think that there's something in the education system that needs to change. Caymanian kids are as knowledgeable as any kid in the United States, from my experience, or any kid in England. And they are really part of those two societies. But I think what is missing is a certain sensitization of being Caymanian or being from the Caribbean, because as much as Cayman is a developed country in a sense of standards of living, the interests of Cayman don't always tally with the interests of the United States and the UK. And I think in the latest political upheaval, I don't know if to call it upheaval, we can see that those interests don't always flow together. But the problem is really that the government has always preferred to keep people ignorant. And the people who have paid the highest price out of those are the young people, such as the ones who are, on your program right now. I can tell you, for example, some years back, I designed a course on the legislative process so that people in government can learn how you develop a policy from a nucleus of an idea up to the time you write it as legislation. And this is it is very rarely known, because it's not like being in the LA and having 3 readings of a bill. No. How you develop a bill before it goes public. And you know what happened? The government fought me. They fought me so hard that I went to court to try and allow them to allow me to teach privately, and they brought in a QC, paid him $79,000 so that I could not be allowed to teach people. Do you see? That's the extent to which the government has gone to try and limit information.
Wow.
Now, last point I want to make, exactly. $79,000 the government paid the QC to prevent me from teaching that. And people like you would have benefited from it, because with my Caymanian friends, what we did was we said, well, once it's taught in government, let's see if we can move it to the schools, because this is very key to anybody who knows, for the kids to know, if I can call you kids, affectionate, that's what I mean,
Oh, yeah, I'll take it. It's fine.
Yeah,
I feel old.
And that's the problem. Look at the Constitution, for example. The Constitution is not very well known. I see the lady there had said something, well, I haven't read it and so on. Part of the issue is not really your problem. It is the education system should have made you read it. And 100%. You will find that exactly, because you see, you don't decide your syllabus. It is the people who are in control in society who decide that. Now, let me close with a very, very controversial issue. Right now, for example, I have sued a judge. I sued the judge. I filed the writ maybe about 2 weeks ago. It has been served on the judge, and that, in my view, has never, ever happened in the Cayman Islands. But one of the reasons it has never happened in the Cayman Islands is because people were always told, you can't sue a judge has got immunity and so on. No. The members of the Legislative Assembly have absolute immunity. You can't sue them whether you show they've got malice. But a judge of the Grand Court or the Court of Appeal, you can sue them so long as you show malice. And in my particular case, I think I've got evidence of malice. That's why I've sued this judge. And the point I'm making here is this. I think that the program that you have there is very important. I think, in fact, if anything, the people who should call in should be as much the young people as much as the older people, so that there can be a certain marrying of ideas so that we can hear what you guys are concerned about. Because my kids, when they were still young, before they went off to college and so on, they went to a local school as well. And I found that they also had the same deficiency that sometimes the kids have. You are very well educated. I think your general education is good. Just a better orientation is needed, but that needs political decisions to be taken. Thank you for indulging me. I shouldn't take any much longer. Let me continue listening to you, and if you've got any responses, it is always good for me to listen.
Well, thank you, sir, for calling, and I hope you don't hang up, but if you haven't hung up yet, if you can leave your information with Susan, and I wouldn't mind having a conversation with you off air about possibly taking this discussion further in the future. Right now, we have to go to another commercial break, and when we return, I hope we're going to continue our discussion. We'll see. We'll see what happens right now with the time and if the next guest is here or not. All right?
You know you've dreamed of that Mercedes. The smooth leather, the style. Ooh la la! With the Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzarama. Now is your chance to make that dream come through. Get your ticket for the Benzarama fundraiser at Lorna's Gas Station in Bodden Town, West Bay Esso, Funky Tangs, Reflections, and South Coast Bar and Grill, as well at Event Pro. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzarama fundraiser supports site screening, Christmas deliveries, restoration, and social services.
The Benzarama drawing will take place December 5th. All Benzarama tickets bought earlier this year are still valid.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Maintaining a strong mind and body through sports and general healthy living is a good course of action. But what about your spiritual man, your inner man? He has to be awakened, fed, exercised, strengthened, and led according to the will of God. So, have you heard the call? I'm Evangelist Brother Joseph Joey Ebanks, and I'm inviting you to worship Wednesday and Thursday nights at 7:30. We are bringing the Word of God to our communities as Jesus commanded. Faith comes by hearing. So come and hear. Bring your own chair or simply park and listen to the Word of God from your vehicle, covering the Cayman Islands with the Word of God, one community at a time.
Have You Heard the Call will be meeting November 11th and 12th at the Windsor Park Playground.
Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, the offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter is here to serve your needs. Dr. Porter will be taking appointments from November 30th to December 8th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointments, slots, or limited. Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice with special emphasis on skin rejuvenation using lasers and facial fillers. They always strive to provide the highest quality, individualized cosmetic, surgical, and medical skin care. For more information, email dr.porterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
The Paramount Carpet pre-Christmas blowout sale is back. Monday, November 23rd through Saturday, November 28th. Save big with assorted remnant tiles, $250 square foot, $100 a pallet. Assorted remnant granite slabs, $300 each. Ceramic tiles as low as 75 cents a square foot. Porcelain tiles as low as 99 cents a square foot. Area rugs, 35% off. Carpets, 25% off. And all other in-house tiles, 20% off. Cash and carry. Visit the Big Blowout Sale at Paramount Carpet, November 23rd to November 28th, located on 317 North Sound Road, Industrial Park. Open Monday to Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till 2. Call 949-5000.
We do a whole lot more than just cover your floor at Paramount Carpets.
Don't miss Fat Chance on Radio Cayman every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. starting November 18th until December 23rd with a repeat of each week's episode airing every Saturday at 6:45 p.m. beginning on November 21st and ending on December 26th. Fat Chance. Fat Chance is a comedy everyone can relate to. Henpeck Dexter is back with his wife Corinne and his mother-in-law who is living with the couple. The universal theme is be careful what you wish for as you just may get it.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller. We have in studio this afternoon, left with us is Chris Gorzong and Colin Bodden. Miss Alana had to leave. She had other professional duties to attend to. We were discussing politics, the landscape in Cayman from more of a younger Caymanian's point of view, the perspective from Millennials and Generation Z. And we're inviting people to give us a call if you'd like to make a comment. 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037. 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp us at 925-3261. I do ask that if you call, if you could please make your thoughts a couple minutes. Just get to the point, please. Give us a couple minutes and ask the question and contribute to the conversation that we're having. All right, as we have here with Colin and Chris, our last caller who did call and say he kind of feels that the education system is already set up to keep younger people, I guess,
engaged?
In the dark, not engaged. More in the dark about the Constitution and the process of elections in the Cayman Islands.
Well, I would strongly suggest that if, anyone that's listening, and if you do intend to vote, and if getting more engagement from either your children or if you are a youth, if you want to be more engaged, then when the politicians or the hopeful candidates come to you, that you voice that this is what's important to you and you would like to see the change in syllabus hopefully be brought forward, or some kind of bill be tabled that civics and educating the youth on the Constitution and the business of Parliament be brought to the schools, so that kids coming up can have a better understanding of why it's important to vote and why it's important to participate in their democracy.
All right. We do have one caller online with us right now. Good afternoon, caller. Thanks for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I just want to tell you all that I'm so happy and delighted and impressed and all the good stuff to hear you young people not wanting to get involved, but getting involved in the political process to help determine your future and the future of Cayman.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
And but you need the question I have is that the last caller talked about the education system lacking stuff and whatnot. And while I don't disagree with him, I think what is missing is that current politicians like myself are not necessarily encouraging, providing the opportunities for you young people to get involved and to stimulate a desire in you all to learn about politics, to learn about the Constitution, and to learn about what is necessary to preserve what we have.
I respect that.
100%.
I really respect that.
So what would you suggest how, as you said, as a politician yourself, perhaps it's not those steps aren't necessarily being taken to engage the younger people. What would you do to increase that engagement?
I make it my business to engage young people at my constituency level any opportunity I can. The two generational separations that I really enjoy talking to are the people over 55 and the people under 30, because the people over 55 have lots of advice, and I often find that the people under 25 have a thirst for knowledge if I am prepared to listen to them and pay attention. You all like all these little smartphones and all this kind of stuff, right? But
of course.
It's a given.
One of the things that I try to do is if I get in a conversation with a young person, I try to set an example and ignore my phone or turn it off to try to get them to do the same thing, so we can have a discussion about how you can get involved, why you need to get involved, what are the things you need to get involved in. And I find that if I can get them separated from that gadget for a short period of time, it is very enlightening. And one of the things that politicians tend to talk about a lot is we need to educate. We need to educate the people. The people are well educated. You just got to give them the opportunity to show it.
I agree with that.
Definitely.
Because part of the problem, as I see it, is that even when we engage young people, we are not engaging them in the sense of wanting to inquire into what they believe could be a solution to the problem at hand or what should be done about a particular issue. Most of the engagement seems to be confined to the politicians trying to convert or convince the young person to support their ideas.
Right.
So I think you young people need to be a little more assertive. You need to band together collectively more, and you need to step out and get involved in the issues. I admire the young people that are trying to get people to register, because if you're not registered, you can't do very much,
Right, exactly.
I have a friend who, in another country, well, in Jamaica actually, who the first question he asks anybody who arrives at his office looking for help, are you registered? And if the answer to that question is no, he says, well, can I help you get registered? And if the answer to that question is no, he says, well, I can't help you. You have no rights in this country. You're not entitled to any help. Right?
Wow. It's blunt, but hopefully effective.
Harsh, but true.
Right, but the question was not whether you voted for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The question is, are you registered to vote for whomever?
Right.
Therefore, you can make a contribution and you can demand involvement. If you're not registered, if you don't have enough interest to register to vote, why should people listen to you?
Yeah.
But one of the things that we as the current crop of politicians need to do, which I've been advocating for a long time, is we need to make the process of registering to vote much simpler, right? And you should be able to register to vote up until the day of election, if you qualified. But we have this elaborate process that you got to fill out 1 million forms. You got to prove that your grandfather was a saint, right?
Right, yes. Pretty much.
He was next to St. Peter, right? And therefore you are entitled. The government has, on anybody who's born in the Cayman Islands, the government has all the information necessary to register that person if they qualify for it at age 18. It should be automatically every Caymanian who's entitled to vote. The election law should provide for automatic registration on your 18th birthday.
Yes. Thank you so much for your input so far. I am not being rude and cutting you off. I'm so sorry, but we do have another caller. And to reiterate what you said, you must be registered to vote to have a say. And that deadline here is January 4th, 2021, which is really early. Elections are in May. So I echo what you say. You should be able to have much longer time to be able to register to vote. But right now, that's just about 6 weeks away, everybody. So January 4th, 2021. If we can take, thank you so much, caller, again. Hopefully we can have you in one of these participatory panels that we're having. We have one more call, I believe, before we have to go to a break. Good afternoon, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I am fine. Good afternoon to your panel as well.
Good afternoon.
It is a delight to listen to you young people this afternoon on the topic that you are on. And on behalf of the Association for Civics and Political Education, pardon me there, I want to commend you for your call this afternoon to be on there and to speak to younger people about being registered to vote. In January, the Christian Association for Civics has a whole program that we will be unveiling in January for civics and political education. It is one thing to be registered to vote. It's another thing to know who to vote for. A lot of the issues that affects us socially is because we don't know who to support politically. And for a long time, we have just stayed on the treadmill, placing the same votes beside the same names and expecting a different outcome. There's a definition for that, and it's called insanity. And it's time for the people of the Cayman Islands to not just be educated, but educated in the right way. Because I can guarantee you can be educated the wrong way as well. You can be taught the wrong things. And there's been a lot of stuff that's been just said over and over repeatedly, and now we use it for a chant and a mantra through life. And one of those things is, well, it's the government, what can I do about it? And the politician is responsible to me. And those two things is something that we as the public, as the people, need to get past and understand the political power that we have when we go in the booth and place the vote, but we need to be placing that vote beside the right people. And not just because our grandfather said it was a good person.
Right.
And there are a lot of...
Thank you, caller, for your contribution so far. Sorry, but we had to keep the comments brief right now. We do have another caller, and then we have to go to another commercial break. But I do encourage you to get in contact with Radio Cayman and let us know how we can help push those civic association meetings that you were talking about having. All right, thank you very much, and we'll take the next caller before we have to go to a break.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I see you doing a great job succeeding in the program.
Thank you, sir.
So I congratulate you.
Thank you.
What
is your question? Yes.
Yes. The question is two questions. The first one to you. Who is those guests you have in the studio representing who? Who they are representing?
They're representing their love for the Cayman Islands. Neither of the guests that I've reached out to are with any particular party. They're young people that I know are active in the community. Chris he was very active with Junior Achievement, and he was also a member of the One Man, One Vote initiative as well. So it's me reaching out to somebody who has been more active in doing things and not just talks and complains about things. Also, Colin has been a friend of mine ever since I moved to the Cayman Islands. So he's somebody else that takes a huge interest in his islands, and he's also represented Cayman and in different national team sports. So this is who we have. They're not people that are running in elections. I don't. If I knew that, I wouldn't.
I am not running in the election. I'm not a member of. I'm not signed to any party. I am complete independent, and I have no intention of running in this coming election.
Same here. I don't need any votes. Sorry.
All right. What's your next question?
Yes, it's a comment. Really, it's not really a question. First, I think the Caymanian people need to register to vote. I support those guys if they are really independent, which I suspect that they are part or something for the new party which Mr. Miller is doing. That's what I suspect, or he is behind them.
Sorry, what?
You assume that these guests are part of Mr. Miller's party?
Yes.
I'm not really sure how you got that assumption, but we have to go to a commercial break, sir. So I'm going to thank you for your call, thank you for your input, and we will continue with some commercials, and then after that we will be joined. We have to end this conversation. It's been really good, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to do this monthly at least.
Yeah.
We know the interest is there. I know there's a lot more you want to get out and you want to talk about. So hopefully we can have you back, and hopefully we can make some progress with this, right? And get more young people's voices heard.
The main thing is just get registered. If you haven't registered, please try to vote this year. Get there. So once again, like what Alana said, and yourself and Chris, you don't have a voice unless you do it.
Absolutely. Thank you, and we'll go to a commercial break.
You know you've dreamed of that Mercedes, the smooth leather, the style. Ooh la la! With the Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzarama. Now is your chance to make that dream come through. Get your ticket for the Benzarama fundraiser at Lorna's gas station in Budden Town, West Bay Esso, Funky Tangs, Reflections, and South Coast Bar and Grill. As well at Event Pro. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzarama fundraiser supports site screening, Christmas deliveries, restoration, and social services.
The Benzarama drawing will take place December 5th. All Benzarama tickets bought earlier this year are still valid.
Do you remember when 2020 was great?
I don't think it was...
2020 vision, not the year.
Right.
Make 2020 great again with Optical Outlook, the new West Bay store now open. With their designer frames and sunglasses, eye health has never looked so good. Call 746-2020 and book your eye exam today at Caymanian Village and now at Jake Scott Plaza in West Bay, offering premier eye care in Cayman for over 30 years. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook.
Brand Source Home Gallery is celebrating their 50th anniversary with a 20% store-wide sale starting Wednesday, November 18th through Saturday, November 21st. You heard right. Yes, 20% off everything in store. Plus, a chance to win a $3,400 GE Smart Launcher Lawn Repair. Shop and save. Celebrate Brand Source Home Gallery's 50th anniversary store-wide sale with 20% off everything in store. Plus, a chance to win a $3,400 GE Smart Laundry Pair. Drawing for the lucky winner of the GE Smart Laundry Pair will be held on Saturday, November 21st at 4:30 p.m. Phone 623-5000 for details. Brand Source Home Gallery, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Gather your mateys and rev your engines for a chance to win $4,000 cash. Participate in the first ever Find the Booty Pirates Week scavenger hunt Saturday, November 21st. Scour the island districts for clues, challenges, and much more. Teams of 4 with 1 car are allowed to enter the Find Your Booty Pirates Week scavenger hunt. Only $100 entry fee per team. Get your tickets from eventpro.ky. For more details, email events@piratesweekfestival.com. Lars!
Kirk Freeport has opened a clearance pop-up store to liquidate overstocked inventory. The events of 2020 have led to a large overstock. So, Kirk Freeport is offering residents pricing like never before, with all merchandise marked down 50 to 75% off. Located at Kirk Freeport on Cardinal Avenue, open Fridays from 12 to 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The majority is jewelry and watches. Make sure to visit often as new stock will be added every week. Located at Kirk Freeport on Cardinal Avenue. Visit kirkfreeport.com for more details.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And on this segment of the show, I'm happy to welcome Dr. Shari Smith, Scholarship Secretariat.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Excellent.
It's Friday.
Yes. Thankful for this.
Yes.
And thankful for hopefully a great weekend ahead.
Yes, definitely.
Now, you were on with us earlier this week and we were discussing the overseas scholarship application period. We got into a pretty good conversation
We
there.
did. Yeah.
There's some other key points that you did want to highlight. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and allowing us this opportunity. We just really want to remind persons out there and that the overseas scholarship application period is now open online. Reminding persons that it is an online process, so you need to please submit everything online. Also that my brain is kind of like I'm trying to switch.
That's been me all week. Don't worry about it. They have until January 31st.
They have until January 31st. Yes. And so going, like I said, everything is online. All the documents that you need to upload or fill out to upload, in terms of what we require, are there on our website. You will also find some very detailed guidance notes. So
yes,
please take a look. Because if there's anything that you download, that is the one thing I would say to go and look at, because it'll tell you from stage 1 to stage 5 what we have or what is required, and so you can start to kind of put those things together. Really don't want to. You can start it and complete stage 1 and then move on to the next. Please don't wait until you've got everything and then sit there. I mean, you can, but we try to encourage people not to. And if you're having any trouble, to just give us a call, because I think I gave you the main education line last time. So if you are having on the site and you are having some technical difficulties, and I know this week we were kind of having some glitches, but persons called in and we were able to resolve them pretty quickly.
Great.
So just call 244-2492. Or, like I said, you can email scholarships@gov.ky, and one of the officers, admin officers, will try their best to assist with the challenge you may be
facing. You, in our last show, you had made a great point that I don't think a lot of people might consider. So for students who will be filling out these overseas applications for education, and this is for... It could be bachelor's, it could be your master's, it could be a doctorate, it could be for some training programs.
We do associates. You can also do TVET programs.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now, if you need to get a visa,
yeah,
this is where it gets a little tricky, because it's not just a I can fly to Jamaica and fly back the same night and have my visa application meeting, and it's a different process now.
Yes, it is. And so you really need to look at that when you're looking at your universities. What are the visa requirements? Currently, if you have a British passport, if you're, obviously one of the requirements is being a Caymanian. But if you have a British passport, at present, you are able to go into the UK without a visa.
Right.
If you have a Cayman passport, then you need to get a student visa to go into the UK. The US requires visas for non-citizens. I think Canada as well. So most jurisdictions do. So again, with COVID, the restrictions and quarantine, you need to, think about that and factor that in, where you have to go.
You have to quarantine for a 2-week period.
Yeah. So in Jamaica right now, it's a 2-week period. So
that's costly.
Yes.
as well. So it's not that overnight hotel stay, or if you do that, there's a couple of different costs involved in this scenario because of COVID. If you need to get a visa.
Yeah. So, and everything seems to change on a daily basis, right? Because I think if you're coming from Cayman, because we're COVID free so far, if we can say we're COVID free,
yes, I say it.
I don't think they're requiring persons to quarantine, but I don't know for sure. And I think it's kind of a selection process, but it doesn't happen until you actually get there. Because I know someone who traveled this week and they didn't have to go into quarantine for 2 weeks.
Okay.
But you're probably not going to be seeking your visa until around Easter time next year, and who knows what that's going to be. So it just needs to be factored in as a part of the discussion, so that you kind of make provisions for all possible scenarios when you're having that conversation. We also talked about parents, allowing the student to take the lead on this application process. Right. So a very, very important thing. One of the things that I don't think I got the chance to mention, we talked about making sure you have a professional email.
Yes.
But also, your photo, your selfie, again, making sure that it is a professional looking selfie. If you're going to do a selfie, you don't want it to be, when you went to the nightclub or sitting on the beach. Yes. Right. So again, this is your first presentation to the persons who are reviewing your application, and it's just like, you're going into any institution, a bank, for example, and you're going to have to do an interview to apply for a loan for the bank to, build your house. You're going to try and present yourself in the most professional manner so that, they're like, this is going to be, this person knows what they're doing, they're reliable, and so forth.
The other thing about that application process, I remember you mentioning, was when you do say have ownership, so let that student have ownership of that application process, meaning if the parent does decide to start the process, sometimes the parent will put it in their name.
Right.
And that gets everything really confused.
Yes. So making sure that, if you're helping your child out, to make sure that the application, the account, because you set up basically an account, right, is in your child's name and not your personal name, because then that sets up all kinds of confusion down the road. And it's pretty straightforward, and nothing in that application really should not be attainable at this point in time. There's certain things that we know we don't expect persons to have, their final transcripts and their diploma and so forth. But again, if they have any questions, please call the Secretariat at 244-2492. And one of the admin officers will be happy to try and answer the questions that they have.
So the review process, it's going to happen April, May-ish of 2021.
Yeah, well, we usually try, once it closes in January, on January 31st, we then basically have about a week and a half to pull everything down and then kind of group persons and so forth. So we're hoping that by early February, mid-February, that we're going to be doing interviews.
Okay.
And we will probably be using a variety of various formats, whether it's by Zoom or it's actually in person. Last year, or I keep saying last year because it's like seems like it should be last year.
Right.
That we were just doing this, right?
Long year.
We actually started our interviews, I think, the week before the whole COVID journey started, right?
Okay.
So we went into interviews and then we had to stop, and then we made a decision that it was best for us not to proceed. So we're looking at the possibility of doing, usually we visit schools as well and do presentations. So we've been reaching out to the various private schools that have, that will be having senior classes and so forth. We also visit some of the, the government high schools and have a conversation, but we're looking at trying to maybe arrange a Zoom call later in the evening, wherein parents can log in as well as the applicant can log in and, answer questions and share information. So
once you've done the interview process and you've decided on awarding a scholarship to the applicant, when can that applicant expect to hear from you? And I'm asking this because from some of my friends when they were going for their scholarships for bachelor's degree,
right.
It was mid to end August and they still hadn't heard, and it was they're pulling their hair out. So that's a really narrow window.
Yeah,
between when fall semester
there's
starts.
a couple of things. Really, we can't, once you get through the interview process, if what you have provided in terms of your grades and the other criteria is within the range of what is required, then you are usually, the Education Council will award a conditional approval, right?
Okay.
We cannot issue a final approval until we have those final grades, exam scores, and so forth.
Okay.
The challenge that happens is that the UK-based exams tend to come a lot later than other schools. So students who are going to schools that have the American system, when they graduate, they've got their final grades and their GPA, so they can, we're pretty quick in terms of being able to relate that information. But if they're going to a UK, then it depends on when those, because we can't issue the final award until we know that they have definitely met the criteria.
Right.
So that's some of the reason of why the delay. Our aim is to be able to provide persons with conditional approvals by the end of May, if not sooner. And that's one of the things, if we have time today, that I'd like to speak on in terms of an option for getting sooner responses.
We will, but
okay.
let's come back to that. Yeah, we got to go to commercial break again. And when we come back, we'll be continuing this conversation with Dr. Shari Smith, Scholarship Secretariat.
That thing we've been saying for 64 years, ignore it. Eat the KFC wings, drink the KFC gravy, fill up on fries. Just please forget the thing we normally suggest. You know, that thing you used to do with your tongue after finishing a delicious piece of our KFC chicken. We get it. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's been our slogan for over half a century. But the world's drastically changed of late, and as soon as we can embrace the change, the sooner we can all get back to doing what we do best. KFC. It's good.
Miracle Brokers International, your worldwide movers and freight forwarders, continues to work hard to improve their expertise to provide you with the first-class service you have come to expect. Now, together with Consolidated Freight Line, CFL, the specialist in logistical and global cargo solutions, customers can rely on an expanded team of moving professionals that gets the job done in a timely manner. Whether it's your prized possessions, full container loads, less than container loads, ro-ro cargo, or construction equipment, from door to port services, or across the oceans, from destinations such as the U.S., Canada, Asia, the Caribbean, Central and South America, among others. Miracle Brokers and CFL combined networks offers hundreds of expert connections that take the stress out of moving and shipping services. Call today for your free estimate, 949-5989. You can also log on to www.miraclebrokers.com. Miracle Brokers is located at the end of Kingbird Road, just past CUC. Miracle Brokers, the art of packing and moving, 949-5989.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that since May, in support of the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, the Chamber Pension Plan leveraged IT and human resources to successfully review over 16,900 member applications, approve over 12,579 applications, and will pay over CI $143 million to our plan members. We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Chamber Pension Plan, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
The Paramount Carpet pre-Christmas blowout sale is back. Monday, November 23rd through Saturday, November 28th. Save big with assorted remnant tiles, $250 square foot, $100 a pallet. Assorted remnant granite slabs, $300 each. Ceramic tiles as low as 75 cents a square foot. Porcelain tiles as low as 99 cents a square foot. Area rugs, 35% off. Carpets, 25% off. And all other in-house tiles, 20% off. Cash and carry. Visit the Big Blowout Sale at Paramount Carpet, November 23rd till November 28th. Located on 317 North Sound Road, Industrial Park. Open Monday to Friday, 7:30 till 5, and Saturday, 7:30 till 2. Call 949-5000.
We do a whole lot more than just cover your floor at Paramount Carpets.
For the record,
we interview the various government ministers, opposition, and Cayman Island legislators.
Brought to you by the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure. Visit energy.gov.ky/competition to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. For the record.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 9:30.
Hey, I'm so glad you can make it this weekend.
Of course. Wow, this place is amazing. How did you find this?
I found it on Experience Cayman. They have so many staycation ideas.
I'll check it out, but for now, let's hit that pool.
Experience Cayman is a celebration of everything local. To rediscover all the best things to see and do in the Cayman Islands, visit gov.ky/Experience Cayman and follow Experience Cayman on Facebook and Instagram. Brought to you by the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, joined in studio by Dr. Shari Smith, Scholarship Secretariat. Right before the break, we were talking about the conditional notification that scholarship applications will receive on, hey, you got the scholarship or not, right?
Right.
And
so,
you wanted to make some points towards that.
Right. So once you've been reviewed, we aim for by the end of May to be able to provide individuals with their conditional approval. Obviously, the final approval is based on your final transcripts and your final GPA, whichever school system you're coming out of. The thing is, too, however, even though the UK scores usually come in late, we send all of the submission documents. Once you get the conditional approval, we send you the submission table that you need to send in. So you can send that confirmation stuff back in. So it's confirmation of which school you have picked, because you can put 3 on there, what the tuition costs and all those kind of stuff. So the only thing we're really waiting are your grade scores, your exam scores. And once those come in, and we have some schools that will send us those as soon as they read, but also students can send. Once you send it in, then we try our best to have at least 24 to 48 hour turnaround to getting that person to respond, because we've basically got everything else in, right? And so once we have that, we send out your bond, and you have to, there's a couple things you have to do with your bond and so forth. So
what do we mean by bond?
You have every scholarship recipient is bonded to the Cayman Islands government, in essence, to the which basically states that for whatever period of time that you were provided a scholarship for, you are required to return to the Cayman Islands for that period of time to give back in service. And that's how it's kind of worked. Whereas way back when, it used to be bonded to Cayman Islands government. So you came back and worked for government. So it's no longer that you come back and work for government, but you are bonded to return to Cayman. So the expectation is that you're coming back.
So if I was applying for a 4-year scholarship, for example, then upon graduating, I'm expected to return back to the Cayman Islands for 4 years.
For 4 years.
If I want to expand international experience, I can do so after 4 years of working.
Well, council does allow, if you have an opportunity, if you completed, especially if you completed like your first degree, and you have an opportunity to gain some international experience, they do have, I guess a grace period, but you have to write to the council through us, requesting that, you've got this opportunity, providing supporting documentation, and then they will basically defer your return, your payment of your bond for the completion. So it's not, okay, I can do my first degree, I have to come home, stay home for 4 years, and then go back and do the next one.
That's flexible. Yeah. That's excellent.
So, again, we work with the scholarship recipient, but you have to communicate with us so that we know how to provide that support. And the secretariat is, we manage the policies of the Education Council, which is, facilitate, basically given that authority through the minister, right? So we don't have the final say. We basically will put the stuff together. We take it to council. So again, because sometimes we'll get yelled at and screamed at, said the secretariat did this or the secretary did that. And just want everybody in the public to know we are following the policies that we are given, right? But council does have to make the final, make sure that everything is, falling to suit. The other thing we want to remind people to do is that when you get to stage 5, which is the last stage in the application, there is a submit button that you need to press to send your application off.
I would think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised. I usually have about between almost like 5 to 10, sometimes 15 applications that doesn't happen with. And it's a variety of, they've waited to the last minute and they're trying to stick everything in there and get through, and time runs out, and the system is automated, so it will close you out.
So then you would have to start that process all over again.
You have to wait till next year to submit that application.
And if you did submit the application and hit the submit button, are you going to receive any notification that yes?
You get a we've received, your application has been submitted, it will be reviewed, and you'll be contacted. So if you don't get an email when you've finished everything, then you want to double check that you actually hit the button. We also will encourage students to use an email address that you're going to be checking continually, because as you go through the application process, the system, we will contact persons through the system, giving them reminders. So, we get to December the 15th, for example, and we see that we still have 100 people sitting in stage 1, you will get a reminder that says, hey, you're still in stage 1. There are 4 more stages. This application closes off on January 31st. So we're constantly reminding persons, along the process. So again, making sure that you're using an email on there that you're going to be getting those notifications from and so forth.
Oh, so there's prompts, which is good.
Yeah.
You would think that somebody serious about their education wouldn't need the prompts necessarily, but sometimes we do. There's a lot of things that are going on.
Yeah.
So it's great that you do have that set up.
Yeah. So
where can people fill out the overseas applications?
Okay, so it's online, and we are under the education.gov.ky/scholarships is our website. And on there is a link to what it says overseas.ky.gov fluid review. So once you go on the scholarship website off of Ministry of Education site, there is overseas. And it's on the page. There's overseas and local, but it's the overseas the first one up. You click on that, and it'll take you to Fluid Review, and it asks you to set up your account, so your email where you're going to receive the notifications and your password and so forth. And then
all the 5 steps are very well explained.
Yes,
I've been on there myself.
Wonderful, that wonderful document.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any last closing comments you want to leave for our listeners?
Yeah, get the process started. This is an awesome opportunity that is provided to persons who want to continue or start their, next level of their education. Please get it in by the deadline. If you're thinking of going to school overseas, and it can be an online program, if you're doing your master's and it's online, once that facility or institution is established outside the Cayman Islands, then it's considered overseas. So even if you're sitting, you're working here in Cayman, but online, then you need to apply now. And the funds are for starting in September 2021. Or if for some reason you need to defer till January 2022, but you need to get it in now.
But the online is for master's and doctorate programs.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that last time. Yeah.
We know that a lot of universities are online currently. So persons may find that is an option that's coming up. Put it down if it's an option that if that university is really one that you want to go to. So, but we really encourage persons who are doing their first degree that they look at a degree program that will be an on-campus program,
Yeah, I fully support that as well. Yeah. You're going to immerse interculturally with so many people, and that experience, you won't have it ever again, really, when it comes to education and all the rest. So we got to wrap up. You got one more point?
One more point. Please, if you can submit your application prior to the 31st. So if you've got everything and you've done all the 5 stages, you hit that submit button, it comes to us, and we can actually start to review to make sure that you've gotten all the stuff where necessary, and possibly even start, your review process sooner, so that you've got a conditional offer, sooner than May 31st. So,
and don't wait till the last minute.
Please don't.
I can tell you by my experience, I do this all the time. It's so stressful. Don't procrastinate like I do, and get that out there. You have enough time. We've been speaking about it, and I know you guys are doing. Publicly, you're going and giving this information out as much as you can, and the schools, through other news media. So you have up until the 31st of January 2021 to apply for an overseas application to further your education. Thank you, Dr. Shari Smith, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
And thank you. We got to go to 2 p.m. news headlines, and then we'll be joined by UCCI.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Health Services Authority partners with Otis Air and RGF Environmental Group to install the in-duct air purification system, which it says can, quote, significantly neutralize the SARS-CoV-2 virus, as well as other contaminants in the air. The unit will be installed in the existing air conditioning system. The RGF Environmental Group has donated 7 units to the Cayman Islands Hospital, with Otis Air installing them at no cost. In international news, according to CNN, U.S. President-elect Joe Biden's victory in Georgia has been confirmed by a recount, as legal efforts by Donald Trump's allies to challenge his defeat were dismissed in 3 states. The Democrat beat his Republican rival in Georgia by 12,284 votes. Mexico has moved a step closer to legalizing cannabis for recreational use after lawmakers passed a bill aimed at curbing violent crime linked to drug trafficking. The bill must be approved by the lower house by mid-December to become law. The Vatican is seeking an explanation from Instagram after the official account of Pope Francis liked a photograph of a lingerie-clad Brazilian model. It is unclear when the photograph was first liked, but the interaction was visible on November 13th before being unliked the next day, after CNA approached the Holy See press office for comment, the news agency said. There is no evidence that the Pope liked the image himself. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller and I'm joined in studio for this last segment of Talk Today with Dr. Stacey McAfee, President of UCCI, and Camille Angel, Admissions Manager. Good afternoon, ladies. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Very well. Good afternoon, Kathy, and to your listeners as well. We're thrilled to be with you this afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes, very well, thank you.
I know Camille already from government works and a little bit of Toastmasters work and all the rest. So it's a pleasure to have you ladies here. We are here to talk about spring registrations at UCCI. I did get my associate's degree there, so I have a little bit of a relationship with UCCI.
Oh, wonderful. No wonder you're so talented. You took your education and made the most of it. It's a pleasure to be with an alumna this afternoon.
Thank you.
Two, actually.
Yes. Camille as well, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did complete my associate with UCCI as well, so it's really a personal mission to see those new students joining us in the spring and to see them starting their journey as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
So what do we want the people to know about the spring registration? Is it because of, I guess, the COVID regulations, is things a lot different for operations at UCCI?
You know, I have to say, we just celebrated commencement and we had about 220 new graduates from UCCI, which is a growing number each year. And I had the opportunity to say to the Premier, thank you. As the president of a university, I've had a very different experience than most presidents around the world. We were blessed to be able to return safely to campus this fall, the end of August. And so we're back in session, and we learned a lot about the interests and desire of many students to learn in an online or a hybrid, blended, part online, part face-to-face fashion. And so what we did when we came back in the fall is what we believe is the best of both worlds. During the day, you can come to the campus face-to-face and study with your classmates and your instructor. And in the evening, you have the opportunity to attend either face-to-face or through online platform. And so what it means is you can pick from day to day, week to week, whatever suits your schedule. And our students have loved the flexibility and the opportunity to continue some of what happened during our remote operations. The other thing is that all of our processes became online processes available to you remotely, which is a huge benefit to anyone interested in joining or continuing their studies at UCCI.
Excellent. I love the hybrid approach because especially for students that are going in the evening, a lot of the time you could be a young student who's also working a full-time job or a part-time job, or you could be an older adult that is trying to develop more, so they're doing continuing education or they're just going for their degree. Mm-hmm. And it can be hectic knowing that, okay, classes might start at 4 or 6. Maybe you won't get permission from your employer to leave a little early. Maybe you have children, so there's the whole school drop-off thing. Sure. Do I have to leave work early? And then you might go for 2 classes a night, either 5 days a week or a couple days a week. but then you're not maybe home until 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and that's that takes up a lot of time and effort.
And we really do try to tap into the needs of our students. And on that point, to many of our processes going online, we do have some deadlines that we want to remind some prospective students who might be interested in joining us about, and also our current students. So we have virtual class registration opening up through our My UCCI page on the 30th of November. So you have 10 days. That's for our current and newly admitted students. For our students that are for the first time thinking about taking that step in the journey, like you mentioned, there might be a variety of circumstances that surround you, and you're trying to weigh your options and decide if you want to study with us. We have applications due by the 4th of December for those new students, so check out our online application portal. That can be accessed through our website, and there's a walkthrough of the step-by-step instructions. It's really easy, and you can also contact us at admissions@ucci.edu.ky or call us on the main line as well. We'll give out those contact details at the end of the interview. But it's really important to consider, I think especially because it's been such a hard year for so many of us in different ways, the coming together and the opportunity that education is bringing us at this moment in time. And when we think about spring, we think about refreshing ourselves, about renewing ourselves and moving forward with new goals and new opportunities. And UCCI has a lot of opportunities right here in our backyard, and we're waiting for students to join us. We're actively encouraging you to think about how you might shape your pathway for spring 2021.
Have you seen an increase in interest based on the fact that maybe some students right now do not want to go overseas? It's a little risky for them health-wise, and perhaps they want to check it out, check what the environment is, wait on it, and just check it out in Cayman and say, okay, I'm going to start my post-secondary education at UCCI. Have you seen an increased interest due to COVID?
We definitely have seen increased interest consistently over the last 2 years. Now, during COVID, as you have alluded to, Kathy, there was a drop-off in interest. People were not necessarily comfortable continuing their education in some cases or changing the course of their studies. But at UCCI, we continued to set new records. And also during a difficult time, our students were resilient. They stayed in attendance from semester to semester. And Camille could certainly speak to this, but I know during fall registration time, we spoke to many students that had either come home from abroad or made the decision to stay within Cayman, one of the safest places in the world.
Absolutely.
To start their studies at UCCI.
Camille, what was that experience like?
I think it was a really eye-opening experience, and I think anyone who's gone through seeing all of the effects of the pandemic, you can really step back. There are times now where we feel like we can be a bit more reflective, thinking back to that, and there's a little degree of separation right now. Thankfully, our public health guidance is really, it's pushed us in a positive direction, being able to gather more and then still maintain that sense of community as a campus with our activities and the offerings that we have through our student life, our work-based learning opportunities, and our just being able to come together as a campus. And even like Dr. Stacy mentioned, having our commencement ceremony and that sense of community and that sense of resilience that we've been able to build. And I think that even though some students have experienced changes in plan for their education, they've still been able to find, what is viable for them. And they've been able to find that either their pathways at UCCI have become more meaningful, especially some of our students who are studying the sciences. This is a time right now to really reflect, and it gives our students, I think, an opportunity to demonstrate that resilience, but also our faculty, our staff, and that coming together. And we're really excited. The spring is literally right around the corner.
Yes,
and
it is.
We want to be that first choice for our students. And we think that, we've shown that resilience as a campus. We've really come together and we have a lot to offer at UCCI, and we are, like I mentioned, right here in your backyard. So whether you're thinking about tooling yourself up as a professional, or whether you're thinking about starting your journey as a high school student for the first time, no matter where you're at, we want to meet you there. And typically, we have our highest intakes in the fall, and we have a lot of programs that we'd see students starting those in the fall, but spring is a really great time to get started, especially if you're thinking about our pre-college program, some of our short courses to tool yourself up. There has been an opportunity at this point in time for us to offer those kinds of courses that really meet the need in our community. And a lot of those, we will mention some of them, but it's a very exciting time for us to move forward into spring 2020 and to renew ourselves as well as a community.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Camille, for that. We have to go to a quick commercial break, and when we return, we will be back with Camille Angel and Dr. Stacey McAfee of UCCI.
Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, the offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter is here to serve your needs. Dr. Porter will be taking appointments from November 30th to December 8th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointments, slots, or limited. Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice with special emphasis on skin rejuvenation using lasers and facial fillers. They always strive to provide the highest quality, individualized cosmetic, surgical, and medical skin care. For more information, email dr.porterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
Digital is not a buzzword, it is a culture. At Digicel, we've made it our mission to enrich your digital lives. That's why we're bringing together more of all the experiences you love. The latest shows, the best of local and international music and radio, live sports, cloud storage, breaking news, HD video chats, and more. Welcome to Digital at Digicel, the Caribbean's fastest mobile network. Digicel, better together.
Kirk Freeport has opened a clearance pop-up store to liquidate overstocked inventory. The events of 2020 have led to a large overstock. So, Kirk Freeport is offering residents pricing like never before, with all merchandise marked down 50 to 75% off. Located at Kirk Freeport on Cardinal Avenue, open Fridays from 12 to 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The majority is jewelry and watches. Make sure to visit often, as new stock will be added every week. Located at Kirk Freeport on Cardinal Avenue. Visit kirkfreeport.com for more details.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
It's time to run off that extra helping of turkey dinner and give back in a big way this Thanksgiving. Register now for the 5th annual Meals on Wheels 5K and 10K Turkey Trot. Whether you run, jog, walk, or trot, come get active with us on Saturday, November 28th at the Grand Ole House, South Church Street. Registration starts at only $10 and is open to all ages. There are prizes to be won, finishers' medals, trophies, and complimentary continental breakfast to enjoy. Join event sponsors Radio Cayman, Rum Point Club Residences, Davenport Development, Stepping Stones, and McAlpine as they support Meals on Wheels in their fight to end senior hunger in the Cayman Islands. Register today. Visit mealsonwheels.ky or register at racecaribbean.net.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller. We are discussing the spring registration deadlines for UCCI. I'm here in studio with Dr. Stacey McAfee, president at UCCI, and Camille Angel, admissions manager. In the break, I made a comment saying, okay, so the spring classes begin in January. January 11th is the start date. Mm-hmm. And how it always throws me off how spring is being addressed in January. So I'm being from Canada, the seasons matter very much to me. So if we could clarify, to people that actually it is called the spring semester, but it does begin in January.
Sure. It does begin in January, so January 11th, like you mentioned, Kathy. And from the 30th of November, we're looking at those class registrations opening up online. So we'll have our current students, our newly admitted students registering for classes. And then on the 4th, we will have the deadline for new students that are applying to UCCI for the first time. So get your applications into the online application portal, check out our website, and just submit those documents. It can all be done remotely.
It's ucci.edu.ky, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
yes.
Great.
And from the 6th until the 12th of January, we will be, our offices will be closing for the Christmas on the 18th, half day. And then we will be back again. And when we're back, we will be having an in-person registration session. So we're back on the 4th, but then the 6th to the 12th is when we're having that hall registration. So meet us in the Sir Vassal Johnson Hall, and we can help you with anything registration, admissions related. And then, like I mentioned, on the 11th, we're in classes. So all of this is coming up really soon.
Yes.
And if you're looking for those key dates, we're sharing those on social media. So you'll see that come out over the next few days. If you haven't already seen that, just keep your eyes on the prize on our social media platforms, Instagram.
Do you know your social media handles?
I think we're at official UCCI.
Okay.
So just search for us on there, and then you'll be able to find us on Facebook as well. So official UCCI.
Perfect.
And if you have any questions, just call us at 623-8224, or the email is admissions@ucci.edu.ky.
Okay.
And we can help you with anything that you're looking to do.
Excellent. Now, from my experience when I was at UCCI, I don't want to say, it depends on the demand of people, but it's limited degree programs that are offered, and that should be understandable for people that are going to the university. It's not necessarily going to be very specialized degrees that you want to get. You have to be in a very much bigger market where we can even offer that kind of expertise. However, what's new that I know a couple of ladies that did graduate from was the Bachelor's in Nursing program. I know that went off very well. Was anything you guys want to say about that? Are we encouraging people to continue down that path? Because nursing is a profession to be very proud of, and a huge one. My mom's a nurse, so I saw how my mom has climbed those ranks, and we know how important our people in public health here are in the Cayman Islands, especially in these last 9 months we've experienced. How important and vital they are in our everyday lives to keep going on. So,
Well, I think that we are very, very proud and grateful to all of the people that worked so hard for more than a decade to ensure that a quality nursing program was launched at UCCI. The research tells us that it is important. You improve patient outcomes when you have culturally relevant care. So having Caymanian nurses that know the community and can easily transition into important roles has been very important. Our partnership with HSA and Health City and others has allowed our nurses during their clinical times to get hands-on experience and to begin their process for placement within our healthcare system. Now, I will tell you that because of the quality of the nursing program, our nurses do go all over the world to practice. But I agree with you, Kathy. This year, people really understood how hard the job is, how much dedication and service is required in the health professions. And UCCI has been considering for a while what is our role in expanding the number of health-related programs that we can offer to complement nursing. We are hoping, as we look at all like science, technology, engineering, and math, health obviously is a part of that, that we believe there's a growing need and also interest within the Cayman Islands for the university to continue to build out at the bachelor's level the work that we're doing to prepare the workforce here. And even at a technical and vocational level, how do we participate in allied health and other professions that are mostly underrepresented by Caymanians? And we would love to be a resource for developing quality health care that rivals anything else that you would find around the world. So, and the other thing I would say is that the number of bachelor's students that are graduating from UCCI and even graduate students is increasing each year. We are seeing more and more students continue on with their bachelor's in business, and there's all sorts of concentrations within that they can pursue relevant to the local industry,
Yes.
finance and accounting. And
are these, would you say, the most popular programs that students are?
Yes. Business tends to be our strongest, and actually I should let our admissions manager talk about that. But we see, and the other thing that's important for people to understand is we're not just serving school leavers. In fact, probably the majority of those we serve at UCCI now are adults. And that makes me very proud, because that's really one of the most important things about having a university in the Cayman Islands, a public university, because we run the gamut from technical vocational education training all the way through graduate degrees, keyed to what the economy needs, what government believes a priority should be, and helping to build out new industries, whether it's a tech sector or a health sector. We're there at the ready to be a partner.
Well, you also have the Civil Service College partnership.
Yes, very much
with
so.
the being a government employee, knowing that, okay, I can get a degree, government will support that learning. It's funded via government. So there's so many different avenues. And those are, mostly people, as you said, that are already adults established in their career, but they're looking to attain a different degree, upgrade their skills. Education is something that just doesn't stop once you get maybe your first degree. But let's say 24. Nope.
We hope
it's
not.
It's ongoing, and there's always best new practices to learn, right?
And that is one of the wonderful things about UCCI. We actually have a lot of learning opportunities, and these learning opportunities are for anyone, no matter where they want to start. So if you're a high school leaver, or if you're an adult learner, or if you're a busy professional, we have an opportunity for you. And in particular, as Dr. Stacy mentioned, there's a lot of popularity around our business degrees, around our associates in business administration, also in our bachelor programs. And I think that maybe there's just a little bit more awareness that we can share about that, because these opportunities are here. And for anyone that wants to know more about them, our admissions office is happy to share these. We have information to share with you, our website also. And the nice thing is that in spring, we are also offering even more. We have new professional development short courses. So for your entrepreneurial pursuits, you might want to tool up with short courses in business basics or QuickBooks or financial planning, business math, time management, shorthand, minute taking. We have English classes, basic English, or English for speakers of other languages. So any place that you're at, we want to meet you there, and we want to help you to gain those skills. We also have a variety of TVET courses, which Dr. Stacy mentioned. Some of those are continuing from last semester, and then we also have some new ones that are being offered for new students, so preventative maintenance and electrical licensing preparation. And we have so many courses that we're just excited to share these with students and just to offer this.
And we were mentioning the associates and bachelor level, and I know, Dr. Stacy, you had touched on the graduate level. And I'd have to say, throughout the years, what I'm seeing coming from those people attaining their master's degrees, I love that people are going after it and they're doing this. It's excellent. I'm seeing a lot of ladies graduating. So men, we encourage you as well.
That's right.
Those master degrees are available for you too.
Yes.
But it's definitely such a change compared to, I want to say 20 years ago and previous to that. So you would see more men graduating with a master's, and now it's taken a bit of a change there. So,
it's an interesting thing that we have. I appreciate what you said, Kathy, that you have to think about education as a need for lifelong learning. As someone who went back for 4 different academic degrees over various stages of my life, I can attest to that each step along the way changed the trajectory of what I was able to do, and that you don't necessarily need to do it all at the same time, right? Education is here for you, whatever it is that you want to accomplish next. And so that's why we're proud that we have what we term pathways to prosperity for every person, because we know that education, particularly during these times of uncertainty, gives you something that you have control over. You're investing in yourself. You're envisioning how you want the world to be and the role that you want to play in it. So it's an exciting time, and we hope that you will embrace the opportunities for learning. We have high quality, amazingly affordable education at UCCI, and we do have, for those that need support, some financial aid options and flexible payment plans. So don't let the financial constraints get in your way. Time is going to pass, whether you're studying or not.
You have no idea how many people I've said that to. And I had to say that to myself. The time passed. You keep putting this off. And this year I turned 40, and I'm now in my final 4 weeks of studying to get my bachelor's degree.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. But when Dr. Stacy, when you mentioned you went back to get 4 different degrees, and it changed your trajectory in life.
Yes.
It doesn't matter when you do it. It's just you wanting to do it, and what it will teach you, no matter what, is discipline and figuring out what matters most to you, and how you're going to. Time management is a huge thing. How you're going to prioritize in your life, and your education and your pursuit for knowledge, in my opinion, should be something that you always prioritize in your life. Is there any lasting words that you'd like to leave with our listeners?
I think that it relates to what Dr. Stacy mentioned about those pathways to prosperity. Each of us has a different pathway. So we do want you to get in touch with us. We do want you to talk to us about that. Your pathway may look different. You might be pursuing, a training course. You might be pursuing a degree with us. Maybe it's because you want to show your child that you're setting a good example. Maybe it's because you want to make more money. Maybe it's because you want to be more competitive in a job market. It all changes depending on your perspective. So we want you to know that we're here for you, and that our admissions team also wants to hear you out and see how we can help you. So just a reminder again, you can contact us at admissions@ucci.edu.ky or 623-8224. And just to remember those key dates, they'll be available on our social media. Check us out on Instagram or Facebook, any of our other social media platforms. We are really excited for you to be thinking about renewing, refreshing in spring. And check out our website. That schedule will be coming out soon. So www.ucci.edu.ky. And once you go on there, you'll find out even more information. You'll see a banner scrolling about admissions. You'll also see about registration for classes. So whether you're a new student or a current student or someone who's thinking of joining us, just check out that information, get in touch with us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Stacy, was there any last comment you want to leave with our listeners?
I just want to say that education is something that nobody can ever take away from you. And I won't get the quote exactly right, but it goes something like this. Education builds confidence, confidence builds hope, and hope builds peace. And so I wish that for our world right now, that people find within themselves their gift, and they look to UCCI to support that along the way.
Wonderfully said from both of you. Thank you so much for joining us on Talk Today this afternoon. And I was telling people earlier in the show to give us a call or to WhatsApp us and give us a comment. And I didn't get the chance to read the comment from one of our listeners, and this has to do when I had the first panel discussion with Colin Bodden, Chris Gorzong, and with Alana Warwick-Smith, and we were talking about the political landscape in Cayman and the point of view from Millennials and Generation Z. So the comment came from one of our listeners saying, "My philosophy is to live and learn in an unparalleled era. For example, that is the academia of life and environment. The spectrum, demograph, and age is various pertaining to what theme and type of representation there is. Member of Parliament's task and agenda is to legislate the law. Thank you for having the show and for helping to inform people." So thank you to our listener for sending us that comment. We appreciate your contribution. Thank you, Dr. Stacy. Thank you, Camille, for joining us this afternoon. And thank you to Dr. Shari Smith as well. And I won't be with you next week. You're going to be having Raymond Singh, my colleague, who will be hosting Talk Today for all of next week. Thank you and have a great weekend, Cayman.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman.